it.
Yes, and right, you're going to say self-hypnosis, that is one way, but what I was saying earlier, what I really want to say is what I also teach all my clients, is that if there's one thing you do, and it's kind of like what you were just doing, and you do nothing else, but your whole life will change if you take the next couple words that I'm about to say, and it's very simple, but it's a very basic concept. It's kindergarten and advanced, and it's to focus on what you want instead of what you don't want. And so you're saying don't eat donuts, don't eat donuts.
That was for fun because I just went past the donuts, but I do get it. I keep seeing myself strong, independent, smart, successful, beautiful. You know.
Yes, and there's a thing called self-talk too.
Very much.
Yes.
Would you like me to talk about that?
Yes. Yes.
So we have 60,000 thoughts a day. 60,000, and we're always programming ourselves and reprogramming ourselves. Hypnosis is actually one way of programming and reprogramming your subconscious mind, but whatever you keep repeating over and over is a way that you are strengthening neural pathways and beliefs that exist and creating new ones. And so your self-talk is so important. Most people, most of my clients, so many people I know, beat themselves up all the time. They get down on themselves, they criticize themselves. So like for you to work with me privately, you have to sign an agreement to promise to stop self-criticism. That's part of it. And I get that that's a journey for people, but when you need to know that someone has your back, and if you don't have your back, then you can feel like awful.
So I was thinking about family when you said that, but sometimes that's a struggle, so they reach out to you. So people can find you Googling, Facebook. Do you have a number or
And there's a website.
Okay, tell us a little bit about this.
So I have a
How people
website that
reach
has
you.
a lot of resources too, randilighthypnosis.com. So Randy with an I, Randi Light, L-I-G-H-T. And you can go, if you just Google my name, you'll find my website.
Right.
I have a couple of free master classes on there that you can listen to, how to harness the healing power of your heart and the 5 ways that you program your subconscious mind. I also have a love yourself quiz that you can do to see what level, where you're at, because that to me is one of the most important things. When you learn to love yourself, then you really do.
So should we have that after speed dating? Remember, I
Yes.
mentioned that, and I'd like for you to come to the next one,
Yes.
because to be a great dater, so
Yes.
it's dating, networking, marketing, you have to be a good person. So keep going.
So yeah, so randilighthypnosis.com. You can also contact me 219-929-8726 and randilight@gmail.com. You can go to my website. You can get a free hypnosis audio. You can have a consult with me, a free consult that you can have a breakthrough with. You won't necessarily, really transform everything, because that's where the private sessions come in, but I can give you a tip or strategy that can truly help you during that consultation, and you can understand what's blocking you a little bit more and help you.
So I want to learn more about this hypnosis. So I don't think I have ever done that, but Sue said you were at the group meeting.
Yes.
And tell it, so you can talk to people, and I've seen it at the fair. And
Yes.
So tell us how that happens and what's happening to people and how do they come out of it?
So hypnosis is actually a normal, natural, common, everyday occurrence. You go in and out of hypnosis many times a day.
Yes, I've heard that.
Whenever you get focused, your brainwaves slow down out of beta and into alpha and theta. That's hypnosis. Literally, you go in and out of hypnosis many times a day. When you're watching TV, your brainwaves are cycling in hypnosis. So if we were to measure
A
brainwaves.
good example of that is when you're driving your car, and have you ever been driving your car and then you just like, how'd I get here?
Autopilot, like, oh gosh, I missed my turn.
So that's we call that highway hypnosis, and
Yes.
that's your subconscious drove you home. So hypnosis is a focused state. It's the zone where athletes and performers perform their very best. And so we go in and out of it many times a day, but a hypnotist will guide you into a relaxed and focused state where you're more open and receptive. Now, I include relaxation, but obviously on the stage show, those people, there's a small percent of the population that are so absorbed and immersed. They have a certain type of personality, if you will, a certain type of person. It's a very small percent, like under 7% of people will be your best stage hypnotists. I mean, not hypnotists, your best stage performers. And I always thought those people, because they are so suggestible and really absorbed in what's happening, that they would be and do the best in my office. but that's not true. They're still good at sabotaging themselves. So it's
So like a ballerina or a dancer that's on stage, you consider that person to be in a focused state.
well, so you can get into the zone. So they're not always in a focused state. I've worked with well over 1,000 athletes, and many from this area, but from all over.
That's how we kind of met. I had you come talk to a group of junior high girls.
Yeah.
So I keep telling, I want to know how to use that now. How do we use that? So keep telling us till you tell us how I use hypnosis to be better.
Yeah, so just like, well, I can't help it not answer that, and I'll remind me to go back to that, but, so to do it on your own, ideally what you do is you go and get hypnotized and heal your history, because we all have trauma or perceived trauma, stresses in our life, because our subconscious has stored every single thing that's ever happened to us, but those memories get stored there from the perspective of the age you are when the event takes place.
So I could come to you and you would help me with that, and that way I will deal with my past pains better, so that I can be
Move on.
a better performer. I say move forward. There are some things that are really near and dear to my heart,
Well,
so
if
I
we're
always
talking about-
advocate for.
If we're talking about performance, so I remember working with a wrestler, and he had injured I think it was his pinky. And so it's really hard to get into the zone and perform your very best if you are even thinking about a pinky. If you're thinking about something else, you're worried about something, you're not going to get into the zone of optimal functioning, that ideal performance state where you perform your very best.
And this is what you help athletes with. What about people, business people, or hobbyists, or just
Well, if most people,
folks.
right, so if you,
Thank you.
so I specialize in helping people overcome feelings of anxiety and depression and insomnia, chronic pain, and then creating peak performance. I also do a lot of weight loss. The thing is that all of those are combined together, and so this 4-session system I do with almost every person on the planet. This is the book, so yeah, so this is the
Look
book.
at your table of contents, I love that.
Yeah, but so this is 4 sessions that I believe virtually every person on the planet would benefit from going through. So if you want to be a better version of yourself, if so many people don't work on their stuff, I was going to say something else, but I didn't know if we're allowed. And so then it starts to creep up as you get older, because we have 60,000 thoughts a day, and you are now nurturing and nourishing that you're not good enough or not worthy, and the body can show and demonstrate the physical pain.
How
the
did you
stress.
learn all this, Randy?
So, and actually it's been
Did you study it because, your name is so appropriate, so you studied it because your name, or did you change your name?
No, I was
It's
born
a
with that name.
beautiful name, okay.
Yeah, so it's actually been 16 years now that I've been a hypnotist, since, I think it's 2007.
In your blog post where you had talked about this, you had mentioned that your the stress levels that you can create yourself or get yourself in actually affects your immune system. It physically affects your immune system, and affects your body's growth and repair because of being so stressed.
Yeah, you cannot be in growth and repair when you're in fight or flight. There's no energy going to that, and then it exhausts the immune system, because the immune system gets put on red alert. But the thing is that there's so you're really interested in the physical, and there's this physical component and this emotional component. There's an emotional component to every chronic issue, every physical condition. There's an emotional component. So there's both. But one of the things that's so important to recognize is that your body can't simultaneously manufacture the feel-good chemicals.
Right.
While it's manufacturing the cortisol. So you go into this anxiety, and then what do? You release more cortisol. Then you go to this anxiety and you release more cortisol, and this becomes a learned behavior. And it doesn't matter what happened first, but it becomes a learned behavior. And so anything that's learned can be unlearned, relearned, changed. Hypnosis makes it so much easier for you to change. It's a bridge or a doorway to your subconscious, and 95% of your behaviors are subconscious. literally 95, almost every single thing you do, think, feel, believe, stems from beliefs in your subconscious.
So I did read, you have a master's in education, so that's important. I
Yes.
think, where did you go to school?
Aurora University.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
nice over there. And another thing I was gonna just mention, so I do realize that some of these things we do are very behavioral and that it affects us. But I also do know that a lot comes from our genes, and there are some things that people have that
It's not a lot, it's a very small percentage, 5–10% is gene. Something has to turn on the gene. You might have it, but something has to turn on, and that's where when you resolve issues, then you don't have to turn on that gene.
Wow.
I have a little bit difference in that just because of biology, but I'm just thinking of children who have some things, and as we grow, it's not always the environment, sometimes it's just innate in that system, but there are triggers, there are certainly triggers, but sometimes if you're predisposed, it's not a lot. So I'm just thinking about like, I deal a lot with some things that from childhood that they already were predisposed and they can't fix that with this, they need medicine. That's kind of what I'm talking about. So you kind of work with those people too, I would think.
I've worked with a lot of people with Crohn's disease and colitis, and would wake up in the night running to the bathroom all the time, and I got them to sleeping better 5 or 6 hours. I have people, kids, adults. I do love working with children, not just for peak performance, but I love when they get in for peak performance, so that I can teach them tools and strategies they can use the rest of their life. That's the gift. But so I work with people going on meds, off meds, in between meds, whatever they want. I've had people who come in with sleep issues, and they decide, because I can't tell you about meds, they decide to go off their sleep meds and they're still sleeping, which is really amazing to me. People sleep better even after that first session of hypnosis. People choose salmon over pizza. It melts the stress and it resets the system, and you start to feel better about yourself. I just had a 25-year-old kid I was working with earlier today, and he's doing so much better. I just did one session with him, and today we did regression to the root cause of his anxiety and fear. And
I just helped a student tutoring with regression, that's statistics, but do you go to folks or do they come to you? And there's some things coming up, I think Sue's going to talk about that you're going to be presenting that.
One thing that she did mention was that self-hypnosis is actually easier and quicker than meditation.
so you want me to talk about that?
Yeah.
So they're really similar, right? They're a brainwave state. But most people, when they think of meditation, they think of closing their eyes and trying not to think. And if we have 60,000 thoughts a day, good luck with that, right?
I do Monday meditation. It has been beneficial.
Oh, it's so beneficial. No, I'm not saying that. It's just easier to then take you to imagine. So when I hypnotize someone, I use my voice. And I'll either count backwards or have you imagine going down a set of stairs, and I'll say double your relaxation with every step you go down, let go. So I'm delivering suggestions, we're counting backwards, and I am guiding you into that state. Now you can do that with yourself as well. You can do the same thing. You're creating a neural pathway, you're getting yourself into the state, and you're having something to focus on. That's the difference. You're focusing on going down a set of stairs to your peaceful place. And so that makes it easier than just trying not to think, right?
So it's relaxing me right now,
I know.
actually. I'm like, I'm looking at this, I want to talk about that. But do people come to you or do you go to them?
So Zoom, I've done Zoom for years, even before the pandemic, but so I see plenty of people on Zoom, like my 25-year-old today was on Zoom. And then I have people who come to my office. I also travel a lot, so I train people to become hypnotists. I go to conferences and present my peak performance methods and the essential 4. So I go to conferences all over the country and present what I do with my clients.
Where's your office?
I see most of my clients in different places, depending, but I have an office also.
Just in the area?
In the area,
okay,
in Northwest Indiana, so
okay,
it depends on where the location is, but do you know where Ogden Dunes is?
Oh, yes, because you hike out there. I remember we were talking about that too. So is